Mr. Phudi, you were given a notice of disciplinary inquiry on the 7th of February 2006, okay, um, which you signed for it, okay, to accept that you have received that and you are aware of that. So what I want to find out from you, do you have enough time to prepare yourself for this disciplinary hearing today?
No.
Do you have enough time?
No, I didn't.
Okay. But you have been given this on the 7th and today is the 10th. So if my memory serves me well, it's over 48 hours preparation, and which according to the law, we ought to be given 48 hours. And we have given you 72 hours. Because if I look at here, the date says the 7th, you have signed it on the 7th and before 12. So, I mean, take it from before 12, from the 7th until today's date, which is the 10th and is 25 past 8, like I've said when we started the proceeding. You've got almost 69, somewhere between 60 and 70, okay, which is equivalent to like 72 hours time that was given to you to prepare yourself, okay, for today's day. So what went wrong?
No, the thing is I didn't manage to prepare myself. Why? Because the charges that are here, are covering my head, and I don't understand them.
Okay, I do understand that we'll come to that point. So right away now, I just want to find out whether, do you feel that the time that was granted to you until today, from the date of signing here, is fairly enough that you are prepared to sit down and talk about these problems that they are alleged against you?
I mean, I didn't think about time. What I was thinking about what I'm seeing here.
Okay.
So I didn't have any thoughts that I have to think about time. The only thing that I have to think about is this trouble.
Okay, going further than that, okay, you know that you've got your rights, okay? I mean, you've got a right to the representative if you do require one, and you've got the right to the interpreter if you require one, and you've got the right to the witness if you'll be calling any, and you've got the right to the evidence. Okay, so as you know that you've got a right to interpreter, and your question you say that you feel that you didn't have enough time, reason that you didn't understand this. Do you need an interpreter? Or did you look for interpreter before in order to understand this?
No, I didn't.
So in short, if I understand you correctly, you didn't do any means to like try to understand this document which you have signed for?
I've read the document, but the reason for this document to be sent to me, that's what I don't understand.
Okay, so in short, you don't understand the reason, okay, the evidence, okay, but the time given to you is enough, is appropriate.
Yeah, let's just forget about time. I mean,
okay, so what? Okay, let's come to this point. Do you feel that must we proceed with this hearing, or must we stop it because of you say that you didn't have enough time?
I've done this for myself. This is the only defense that I have for myself. I don't know, I'm not good in English, I'm not educated, so I did it overnight. I don't know if, will you allow me to read it to you, if possible?
Now, before we can get into, that is details of what I'm going to come up with, which is allegation here. So before we can get into allegation, we just want to find out from you that are you okay to proceed with this disciplinary hearing, or you feel that you didn't prepare yourself? Like you said, like you were like, telling us earlier on about not understanding, not preparing and all that, okay? So are you prepared that we must proceed with the disciplinary hearing today?
No.
You're not prepared?
No.
So in short, you are saying that we cannot continue with this disciplinary hearing?
What I'm trying to say, I'm asking for legal representation.
It's not allowed.
Okay. According to company policy and procedure related to our HR and IR, okay, currently now is still an internal matter, okay, which ought to be sorted out within the company, okay, and outsource all the avenues, okay, of the company, that mechanisms that we've got, and the minute it's getting the company is when now you've got your verdict and all that, you've got your appeal, there's a process, okay? There's a disciplinary hearing. If ever in a disciplinary hearing you feel that, you have been treated unfairly, okay? You can appeal against the decision, okay? And you feel that, in appeal also, still you are treated unfairly, then you've got all the right to go to CCMA or Labor Court to go and lay there. That's where now probably you'll be looking for an external representative to present to in that particular, because now it's no longer within the organization, it's outside the organization. So that way now it's still within. So whereby we don't need any third party. It's the matter between the employer and the employee.
And even with the
okay, and what for on the 7th, okay, which your signatures attached here. There is a sentence that says here, at this inquiry you will be afforded the opportunity to answer the complaints against you. You have the right to be represented by a shop steward or a colleague of your choice from your work area. So that automatically, what you have signed for, illustrate to you that is still an internal matter, whereby you can call anyone who you feel that they can sit with you in this disciplinary hearing.
From the company.
From the company, within Transman.
No lawyers.
I mean, who will stand for me? Everybody.
Actually, that question I ought to like myself to ask you, right? Because you see, I've got a problem, right? Being a chairperson, okay? Because you've got this document, okay? And you have signed for the document, whereby as a person, right, is that I was supposed, if I don't understand anything here, I was supposed to like either go to my co-worker or my colleague within the organization and say, what is all about? Can you please help me? If I don't understand this, and be prepared, and know what is coming my way. But what you are presenting to me this morning, it seems like you've done nothing. You've just signed for this, put it underneath the bed, wait for today, and like you have said that you did that overnight, so that means you took it last night, underneath, wherever it was, okay, and you tried to like go through it. I've got a problem with that, being a chairperson. Because as far as I'm concerned, I was expecting that, this morning, we're going to just proceed, okay, go through whatever emotions that are there, represent ourselves, get any representative that you feel that they can represent you, and we get over and done with this.
You can question the witnesses to understand the allegations.
No.
Don't make tell them that.
Because we've got witnesses against this, all the allegations here, that are here, whereby those people that will be called in, to understand what I'm saying, and you've got the right to question them. So these allegations that are here, all of them, or 99.9% of them, okay, we've got witnesses that they are currently here, and that we can ask questions to defend ourselves. So now, coming back to you, right? Where do we go from here now?
No, if, because on my point of view, I was seeing that they are very serious charges. I've victimized the CEO of the company, and then as a person, I think I can't afford to defend myself. And the problem is one, within the company, I don't have anyone who will stand by me. And then all the people afraid of their jobs. So that's where I have a problem.
Can we have 1 minute break and reassess this point? Can we have 1 minute break? Okay, but I just need Can we reassess?
No choice.
Okay, our 5 minutes break is back, whereby we continue with our disciplinary hearing. I think I've sourced out all the questions related to fairness, which is a matter of, you've got a right to have a witness, you've got a right to interpreter, and you've got the right to the evidence. Okay. I will shoot straight to the allegation that actually have been brought forward against you. Okay. Which is allegation number 1, breach of clause 15.2.2 of your permanent contract of employment.
Mr. Chairman, may I suggest that after you've read out the clauses that you perhaps read the actual clause to him?
Exactly. Okay. Breach of clause 15.2.2 of your permanent contract of employment. So, I don't know, Mr. Phudi, did you read that? Did you read that clause? Because you've got a copy, as far as I'm concerned, of your contract of employment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have your copy currently now?
No, I don't have it now.
Did you read that clause 15.2.2?
I did.
You did. Okay, I will read it again to you. Okay. The employer may dismiss the employee summarily if he incites or causes unprotected industrial action or intimidates workers or hinders or obstruct other employees of employer or client of employer in effective performance of their duties, and if she assaults or threatens any other employee or displays grossly insubordinate behavior, and if she or he causes or incites to be caused or in an accessory to this injury to the employer and employee's client property, or any attempt thereof, or if he is, however, remotely instrumental in any act or omission to negatively prejudice the employer's or employee's client operation or reputation or profitability. Do you understand that? If you do understand, do you find yourself or not guilty?
My man, I'm not educated. I don't understand.
I suggest he pleads not guilty.
But now, Brad, I do understand that you say you're not educated, you don't understand. And I think, coming back to your rights, I say you've got a right to interpreter, which you have said that you feel that everybody's scared of their job, not sent to.
Which is true.
Okay, but my another point is that all these allegations here that are talking about your contract of employment that you have signed. So in short, you want to tell me that you have signed a contract of employment not understanding it, and you didn't even read it. Because it's what is written in a contract of employment with your signature. There's the, right? Is this a signature here, right?
That's my signature.
Is that a signature? This is when it employs you. Okay? You sign it. So now, why did you sign it here if you cannot understand it now here as alleged to you? That is what you have done. Look, I do take your point into consideration. You say you are uneducated, but an educated person, I won't go beyond that and signing contract of my employment, which I don't understand, you know. I will also request an interpreter to like, please come and help me, because Transman is employing me today, you know, lucky I am, I've got a job. So can you come and explain to me what is my condition of employment? As like giving me my contract of employment today. You didn't do that. Today, is alleged to you with what is in the clauses of your contract of employment, and you say you are not educated, you didn't understand. I fail to understand that. Maybe if you can explain to me, you know, I can understand.
Yeah, I know what I mean. You know, English is so wide. So really, there are some words that I understand. There are some words that I don't even understand, and some of them are the first time to come across them. That is the main problem.
But to me, it doesn't show that it's the first time, because the allegation says 15.2.2, and it's 15.2.2, which is having your signature, which was signed 11 March 2004. That was, I think, the renewal of each and every individual within the company contract of employment. I've got also mine, you know, in the same date. Because I remember after each and every, after a year or two, we are giving new contract of employment for everyone to sign. So those words that you are saying, that it's like first time you see them and some you don't understand, I differ with you in a sense that you did sign for the very same words in the state.
No, you are quite right. You know, sometimes there are times where you become full with joy. And then sometimes there are times that you think, oh, I've been employed permanently.
Mm-hmm.
There's great news. Sometimes we don't think what one of the good days things will turn around.
Okay.
So
in short, is that you say that what are you trying to tell me? Guilty or not guilty? So you don't find yourself guilty?
no, not guilty.
Not guilty. Okay. Leslie, can you explain to us, or can you just give us a statement, okay, relating to clause 1, which is a breach of clause 15.2.2? Why do you say that you have breached, you know, the contract of his employment?
Evidence will be led by the evidence of Mrs. Dick, the Chief Executive Officer of the company, that Mr. Phudi was grossly insubordinate in terms of a letter that was subsequently written to Mrs. Dick following a meeting with her, and causes negative prejudice to the employer's company and the Chief Executive Officer herself, which damages her reputation. That is in essence clause 15.2.2.
Okay.
Prosecution is quite happy at the moment if Mr. Phudi states that we can prove the case and you can understand better from the evidence, the allegations, so you can understand better in real English and in real world what the allegations are against you.
Okay. If I understand you correctly, Leslie, just a complaint is that means allegation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, did you close 28.3? All of them are going to be presented by one witness.
No, Mr. Chairman, there's various witnesses.
There's
also
witnesses, okay.
Another issue of a funeral for Prince Khumalo that was arranged, where the allegation is that Mr. Phudi purported to represent the company but did not follow through correctly with that and has therefore negatively prejudiced the name of the company. Mr. Chairman would like me to read the other allegations and we can perhaps go.
Okay, let's go to allegation 2. Okay, then we'll call all the witnesses in sequence. Okay, allegation 2 is you have breached clause 17.2.6 of your permanent contract of employment. That is allegation 2. And it reads as follows: the employee acknowledged that she has duty to promote and develop the employer's business. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty? Mr. Phudi?
You know, really guys, I don't know what to say. You know, I really don't know what to say. You see this thing, the best thing, just tell on and then make a decision about it. Because
You got a plea guilty.
No.
No, look, okay, Mr. Phudi, I don't understand what you say. At the end of the day, it's either you must say you're guilty or you're not guilty, and then we debate about that. So we cannot just jump and say, do whatever you think. We are not fighting here. We are trying to get to the bottom of the problem in order we can sort out the problem.
If you agree.
No, I don't understand everything, and then I need someone who will represent me.
Okay. You need someone who will represent you. Okay. You've got someone whom we can call now to come and represent you, who will explain to you what we're saying here.
You know, within the company there is no one. That is the truth, and you all know that.
But what we're saying, you don't need someone to represent you, because you said that you can represent yourself. You needed somebody outside. We said no. So now your problem is you need an interpreter, a person who can explain to you, maybe in your language, that you can understand the allegation. Maybe that's what you need. Because you have said that.
But who's going to defend for me?
Who's going to defend for you? So you want to tell me that you find yourself guilty in all these charges, that's why you need somebody to defend you? Because if you're not guilty, how can you need a defense?
It can happen that I'll be found guilty without knowing it.
But you're going to present yourself. You're going to explain what do you know about the allegation that are thrown to you. Allegation 2, Mr. Phudi, do you find yourself guilty or not guilty? I've read it to you.
I don't understand it.
It says the employee acknowledge, which is you, acknowledge that he has a duty to promote and develop the employer's business, which is Transman. In short, that clause says that you've got a duty wherever you are to promote Transman, to say Transman is number one. And also Transman, they've got a duty as a company to say, I've got a good worker, which is Brian. That's basically what it says.
I don't know.
You want it in Zulu, right? Or you don't understand the clause itself, or what don't you understand about the whole thing?
The whole thing here.
But right, we are trying to go, we have to go step by step, charge by charge, and like Leslie Ann is saying, people will come in and like justify the whole charge. That's what we're trying. So at the moment, Upethueli is reading the charges and trying to explain them to you. When usho guthi, do you feel guthi uyenzile leyo nto or awuyenzanga na? Are you guilty on that or not?
And then we'll go to explanation later.
Then the explanation is also when the witnesses come in.
You know, the problem is one, all these things here, these charges. Really, there is something that maybe you may not understand. Especially says Esther. I wrote a grievance form against the place.
Wait. Not to say that I'm interfering here. You see, we're gonna get out, you know.
And all these guys, it's just a revenge. I didn't go to the funeral of Prince. I didn't do nothing. So
Wait.
that's why I say I need somebody who will represent me in this thing.
Sorry. You know, here we are not here to discuss other matters. If you feel that you've been unfairly treated on whatever you have just mentioned now, okay, pursue the whole avenues of the company to ensure that that is done. You understand what I'm saying? So today we are here to sort out this problem. Let us not mix them, because if we start mixing this, we're going to be here for the whole day. And I don't think that, Bright, you've got that time. I don't think that Sister Esther, you've got that time. I don't think that Les, you've got that time. Either myself too. I don't have it. So can we concentrate in what we're here for and leave whatever is outside what we are here for. Can we proceed, please? Mr. Phudi, do you find yourself guilty on clause 2, which I've explained to you, 17.2.6, which says the employee acknowledged that he has a duty to promote and develop the employer's business. Guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
You don't, so that means you say you are not guilty. Okay, I'll go to clause 3. Alleged 3, sorry. Breach of clause 17.2.7, which says the employee agreed that he will act honestly with reasonable care and skill at all times while in the employ of the employer. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
You don't understand, so that means you don't find yourself guilty, okay? Is that an interpretation of not guilty?
I think, Mr. Chairman, if I can maybe just help with Bright. If we read something out to you and you said, yes, I did that, I'm guilty of that, you can say guilty. If you don't think it's true, you don't understand, we must, and it's our duty to prove it to you, our case. You must say not guilty. It's simple. Mr. Chairman is just asking, do you agree or you disagree? If you disagree with these charges, you say not guilty. Once we've gone through all the charges, we will start to get the witnesses. They will talk about specific events you can understand.
Why?
And then at the end, we argue the case. We link it back to what the witness said and what it says here in your contract and why we say that you broke this clause in the contract. You breached the clause. All right. At the moment, all you need to do is say, if you believe you didn't do anything wrong, you say not guilty. And we quickly finish with that. Then we call the witness. Then you will understand. Do you understand, Bright? No.
I don't.
Okay. Let's go to allegation 4. Breach of clause 17.2.8 of your permanent contract of employment. It reads as follows. The employee agreed that he will observe the standards of the employer and that he will promote the employer's interest at all times. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
You don't understand, okay? Right. Allegation number 5. Breach of clause 28.3 of your permanent contract of employment. It reads as follows. 28.3. The employee shall not divulge any in which could be construed as negative or damaging to the staff or to the employer, to any person, natural or juristic, without the specific written authorization of the employer. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
Okay. Clause number 6. Alleged number 6, sorry. The alleges victimization and harassment of the chief executive officer in a letter to David Moahi dated the 2nd February 2006, resulting in a gross insubordination. So can I have the letter in that I can read to Mr. Phudi? Okay, the letter that was addressed to Mr. Moahi, dated the 2nd of the 2nd. Okay, read as follows. On the morning of the 27th, 1st, 2006, I was called into Mrs. Dwick's office in her presence and the presence of my supervisor, Johnson. Mrs. Dwick appeared to be very angry and her manner towards me seems hostile. As you know, during that conversation, Mrs. Dick declared that she will kill anybody that she regards as attempting to bring the company down. I'm extremely concerned that my life was threatened, and during that meeting, I would like to record that I have no intention of bringing the company down. These events make me feel very insecure, and I will appreciate an assurance from you that my position at Transman is safe. Thank you, Phudi. CC D. Van der Director Human Resource. Do you recall this letter? Okay.
Sorry, could you say the words yes for instead of nodding for the tape recording? Because it's recording your sound. If you nod your head, it doesn't know if you say yes or no. So if you could answer yes or no.
Do you know this letter that I've read?
Yes, I know it.
Okay. So in that allegation, victimization and harassment of Chief Executive Officer, do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
You don't understand. Okay. Right. Abuse of privileges, that is allegation 7. Abuse of privilege of being given company accommodation at 28 Seymour Road, Parktown. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I understand.
Okay. Purporting to represent the company when arranging the funeral of Prince Khumalo without necessary authorization. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
Okay. Liaising with a senior employee of Transman, Pty Ltd, when instructed not to communicate directly with such a person. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
You don't understand. Okay. 10. Arranging for Mr. Kremdik to speak on behalf of the company at Prince Khumalo's funeral without necessary authorization. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
Okay. Bringing the name of the company into disrepute by purporting to arrange Prince Khumalo's funeral with his family on behalf of the company and arranging to speak at the funeral on behalf of Prince Khumalo's friend, and then failing to arrive at the funeral or send apologies for your absence, thereby negatively affecting the reputation of the company. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
Allegation 12. Acting beyond the course and scope of your employment when purporting to arrange Prince Khumalo's funeral on behalf of the company.
I don't understand.
But I didn't ask the question, whether do you find yourself or not? Do you find yourself guilty or not?
I don't understand.
Right. Allegation 13. Giving false information to Prince Khumalo's family regarding the funeral arrangements. Do you find yourself guilty or not guilty?
I don't understand.
Okay. I've called all the allegation, okay, which is 13 of them, to you. As I don't understand, it seems like the interpretation is you don't find yourself guilty. We will call the witnesses, okay, to give evidence towards all this allegation, and then you'll be given an opportunity to defend yourself and to cross-question those witnesses. Can we do so, sir, Mr. Phudi? Right? Can we call witnesses in? Then you can question them. You know, then you can understand, because bear it in mind, you said you don't understand. So we are trying our wholeheartedly, you know, you can understand. So, and for you to understand is to call the witnesses to come forward, then you can understand. And then you can justify from there whether do you find yourself guilty or not guilty, or you don't understand still. Can we call in witnesses?
I've got no choice.
You've got no choice of what?
I've said to you that all these charges, I can't stand them.
So that means you're still insisting that you want an outside legal representative to come and present you.
Quite right.
But it's not allowed, like I've explained to you. So what do we do then? Because it's not allowed, Mr. Phudi.
That's why I'm saying...
But you know, we ought to have a solution. We cannot say, I don't understand, and we just say, I don't understand, and we just keep on saying, I don't understand. You know, we ought to have a solution to say, where do we go from here? I mean, we have already given you the standpoint of the company whereby we cannot allow your legal representative or an external representative to come and present you. Okay? And you are saying there's no one internally who can present you because of they are afraid of their job, which I doubt to believe that. So, where do we go? Can you give us a way forward then?
No, I've got no way forward.
Okay. Can you give us 5 minutes? Reassess, 5 minutes? Okay. Don't go far, just stand next to Leslie Ann's office door. Right, Mr. Phudi, what I want to put to your attention, okay, before we call in witnesses, okay, I want to make you aware that, you know, the policy and procedures related to human resource and IR, okay, they allow us to have a disciplinary hearing in your absence, if you didn't honor it. So I really appreciate it because you have honored it, you are here today. But the purpose of you being here is to defend yourself. And I don't see that happening. Instead of defending yourself, I see only a pattern of, I don't know, I don't understand, which my interpretation to the whole thing is like, you are not guilty, because now we ought to prove that to you. That's why I'm calling in the witnesses to come in, because my interpretation of I don't understand is you're not guilty. So I ought to prove it to you in order that we can start understanding. Are you okay with that? Are you still with me, Mr. Phudi, right?
I'm with you.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
What don't you understand?
If you understand, fine. If you don't understand, what portion of what I've said that you don't understand?
No, you can call the witnesses, but what am I going to say? I've got no one to defend me.
But you are here to defend yourself, like I've explained that you've got the right to defend yourself.
Yeah, the charges, I don't think I have to
The charges?
defend myself. Yeah, the charges that have laid against me,
No.
they are overpowering me, and then I need to really help.
But it seems that the matter is still in, you know, inside the company. It's internal, okay, and whereby you ought to source all avenues internal. And I don't think that out of 145, how many permanent staff we've got in the entire company?
I think it's nearly 200 now.
Nearly 200 people. I fail to understand that they're afraid of their jobs. 200 people. You've got the right to call a guy in Mossel Bay, even the guy in Durban. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Because we don't take it personally.
Because we don't take it personally. If we were taking it personally, we're going to like say, no, you cannot call this one. No, you cannot. You can call anybody.
I've had my own problems before, and I've spoken to Mr. Dimitri, David Mwaki. They did nothing.
Yeah, but that is irrelevant. I remember you came out with that, okay, to say place and whatever, which I don't want to entertain that. I'm saying because currently now I'm not a chairperson of those problems. I'm a chairperson of this allegation now. That's why I say let's deal with that, and you can revisit what you are saying, and maybe appeal against that, or do whatever. You know, we've got policies and procedures within the organization that if you are not happy, you know exactly what to do. Okay? You know exactly what to do. And then if that is not like followed, if you have done that procedure, you know the next step what to do. I mean, we've got an open door policy in Transman. You can go and speak to Leslie, and you can go and speak to me. You can come and speak to me. You can just for the record, because David has said, like, we have to do this, this is not done, and you've got an access to every individual in this organization. Angela Dick does Esther, HR representative, isn't it, Mr. Phudi? Does Leslie Marshall, who's our legal advisor. Or maybe there's anyone who once said that, don't come to my office. And I'm based on the chairperson of the CRN. You have been called in as a witness to come and give an evidence relating to allegation, but anyway, not to get out of the subject and entertain that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mrs. Dick, could you state your full name for the record,
like, you have agreed
Angela
that I can call witnesses.
And your position within Transman?
Sister Stark, you can call witness.
Do you know Bright Phudi?
To come and give us
in what position
full
does
information.
Mr. Phudi work for the company?
Initially, the security guard, he's now a security guard.
Breaching of the clauses.
How long
that
have
Mr.
you
Phudi,
known Bright Phudi for?
He has contravened his contract of permanent.
So would it be fair to say that during that time he's got a fair understanding of how you run the company?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Has he heard you talk about how you feel about the company?
Very much so. I'm very passionate about protecting the company, and I think that statements that I made even at the annual awards dinner were heard by all of the staff throughout the whole country.
Do you supply Mr. Phudi with accommodation?
Yes, we do. Do you want to know how that occurred?
I would, please, thank you.
What happened was that Bright Phudi was staying with my daughter Amy and her husband in an accommodation just fairly local in Parktown. And when they purchased a new property, they obviously moved to Westcliff, and I'm not sure if there wasn't accommodation available or whether it was a transportation issue, but I suspect there probably wasn't accommodation available. And Amy advised me that she wouldn't have accommodation for Bright in the future. So I said that I would try to assist him in that regard. And what happened at the time was that the existing premises we currently own simply didn't have additional accommodation for him. So the new premises I was looking at 28 Seymour Road, I spoke to the landlord and I said to him, look, I do have a security guard that I would like to actually accommodate on those particular premises. Would he be willing to make some changes, provide, for example, a toilet, a shower, a kitchen, etc. For Bright? And he said that he would do so, and obviously there's an expense involved in doing those alterations. And the problem was that there was another security guard currently staying there, and we wanted to employ him as well. So in actual fact, they had to make accommodation for two as opposed to one. So the landlord made the changes at some expense and added those costs obviously into our rental costs over the next 5 years. I think I've taken the contract for. And I was able to offer Bright that accommodation.
Does Bright pay for the accommodation?
No, he doesn't.
And what are the terms and conditions for Bright staying there? Does he need to remain on the property at night, for example? Could you just explain whether there's any specific terms and conditions related to that?
Well, there was no specific terms and conditions in terms of visitors visiting him, whether he goes or whether he stays in that particular room, but the understanding was that that room is allocated to him for his use, and that, yes, that's where he will live, because he didn't have any other living accommodation available.
Would it be correct to say that if Bright Phudi was not living in that accommodation, you may perhaps let another Transman employee reside in those premises?
Absolutely, yes.
Did you recently learn that Bright Phudi has perhaps not been staying at those premises every night?
Correct. It was through to me that in actual fact he was staying here on the premises of 23 Youngsmuts Avenue in one of my housekeeper's rooms.
And who was that housekeeper?
That is Jane. Jane Manyaka she was. Now I'm not sure whether she calls herself Mamabolo or not.
Okay.
But she's recently divorced.
When you found out about the situation, what did you do?
Well, the first thing was that I needed to speak to Jane, because the original arrangement with Jane was quite a long story, so I'm going to have to spend a little bit of time on it, I'm afraid. Jane was our housekeeper based at Peakenwood. She was living in one of the townships close to Peakenwood. When she got divorced from her husband, he was very, very abusive. She was very frightened to stay in that township, okay? So she asked me if there was any way in which she could actually be provided other accommodation and preferably closer to town. So what I did was that even though obviously it was a problem for us, I moved her from that township into the head office accommodation, even though it was excess staff at that particular point in time, and gave her the room here in the housekeeper's lodge. Allocated it to her and said to her that I was happy for her to stay in that accommodation, also she doesn't pay for it as well, and that I didn't have a problem if she had any visitors, but as of the standing rule, she must ask me permission if there are going to be any visitors coming to visit her, okay, at any time, whether it's over the weekends or at night or whatever, and specifically that no one was allowed to stay with her overnight, which has been a standing rule for the last 20-odd years. It has been abused from time to time by various other housekeepers who've stayed in that accommodation, and they have been disciplined for it in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard that Bright, I knew there was a relationship between Bright and Jane, obviously, was in actual fact staying there literally every single night and reporting for duty straight out of Jane's room, I had to attend to the Jane problem first. So I called her in, and I explained to her the rules again, how she transferred to that particular room, the benefits and so on and so forth. And I said to her that she had never spoken to me about Bright visiting her, or any visitors for that matter, and that it had been reported to me that he was in fact staying there every single night. I have a problem with that. And I said to her that the immediate effect it must stop. So I spoke to her first.
And would you consider it being an abuse of Bright Phudi's privilege with him staying at number 23 when he was in fact given free accommodation from another property, which, as you have said, would perhaps be allocated to another employee if he were not living there?
No, absolutely, yes.
Did you at all meet with Bright to discuss this problem
Yes, I
with
did. I
him?
met with him the very next day.
Would that be the 27th of January
Correct.
2006?
Correct. But I felt it wasn't fair that Jane should just communicate that to him on her own. I felt that I should actually formally address it with him. So what I did was I asked his immediate superior, who's Janssen, who's a security manager, to be present, and also David Markey, who's the National Human Resources Manager. I actually had asked David to be present as well when I spoke to Jane. I didn't want there to be any confusion about my communication.
And how was your tone in that meeting to Bright?
It was fine. I'm perfectly friendly, comfortable with him. I don't have an issue with him.
And what did
yeah.
you say to Bright during that meeting?
In essence, I explained the situation with Jane. I also explained to him that the concern that I have in terms of him staying here overnight was in effect an abuse of the privilege, okay? And mainly the concern that I had was that in terms of the situation between my husband and myself, that I'm very well aware that there is a leak in information from head office, from numerous individuals, okay, through to him, and that the head office, because it has grown, the company has grown so substantially in the last 5 to 10 years, it's critical that we keep every single piece of information confidential in this particular environment, and that no information must be taken outside of this environment. And it's not the first time I've actually stressed this. It's on numerous occasions I've stressed this, both to managers and to general staff, and you heard it again at the annual awards, okay? And for that reason,
could you switch that off, please, Bright?
and for that reason, that there had been a complete overhaul of all of our security measures, because the security division needs to be a separate division responsible for, personal security, access control, information going out, laptops, CDs, all of those sorts of things going out from the company. So, in imposing that on all members of staff, I said to him that he's very well aware that we had given instructions in terms of the card access, that every individual member of staff at head office is given a restriction in terms of time where they are based at head office. In other words, I think it's 15 minutes before they report for duty and 15 minutes after they report for duty. They're only allowed on the premises at that time. Therefore, in terms of Bright's situation, he was in actual fact off duty when he was spending time with Jane. He actually was abusing that situation, and that created a problem for me overall, because it would then set a precedent for all the other staff, okay, which was an issue. So what I said to him in effect was that, as with all other staff at head office, he's only allowed on the premises when he's on duty, and when he leaves the premises, that's it. He must be off duty and not come into the premises. Okay, that was my concern in terms of the confidentiality.
And did you discuss again your passionate feeling towards the company, what you would do for the company?
Absolutely. It's about protecting the company and its people. Everybody knows that. And in fact, the communication that I gave to him, I drew a figure of speech, if you want to call it that, because I couldn't use the word annihilate. So what I did is I replaced it with the word kill, which is used figuratively speaking, and I said that I would kill anyone who threatened the company and the people within the organisation. Because we're all a large family. It's not a threat to an individual. It's a group. It's a whole family which is by any threat to the company. Okay.
And have you not stated that sentiment on numerous occasions throughout the years? Yes. And has anybody in the past ever misconstrued what you said?
Never.
Never.
Never at all.
Thereafter, did David Muwaki hand you a letter written by Bright Phudi regarding that meeting?
Yes.
I hand you a letter. Can you confirm if this is the letter that you were handed?
Yes, this is the letter.
Okay, just for the record again, Mrs. Dick, could you just read us the content of the letter, please?
Okay, the fact that it's addressed to David.
That's fine. You were handed it, yes.
Okay, in the morning of the 27th of the 1st, 2006, I was called into Mrs. Dick's office in your presence, in the presence of my supervisor, Janssen. Mrs. Dick appeared to be very manner towards me seems hostile. As you know, during that conversation, Mrs. Dick declared that she would kill anybody that she regarded as attempting to bring the company down. I'm extremely concerned that my life was threatened during that meeting, and I'd like to recall that I have no intention of bringing the company down. These events make me feel very insecure, and I would appreciate an assurance from you that my position at Transman is safe. Thank you, Bright Phudi, and it's CC through to Dimitri van der Westhuizen,
Now,
the Director of Human Resources.
how does that letter make you feel?
I'm insulted and I'm angry. I think that, as far as I'm concerned, this appears to me to be a deliberate lie in terms of the communication that I gave to Bright. I was actually totally relaxed, quite friendly, and in fact asked him to look at me several times because he refused to look at me. And whether that is a cultural thing or not, I prefer to look somebody in the eye when I'm communicating with them. It's absolute nonsense that he feels that his life was threatened. I mean, for goodness sake, I'm a little person and he's a lot bigger than me, just for starters. And I don't know how I'd attempt to threaten his life anyway.
Do you feel that the letter is a form of harassment and victimization towards yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah, most sincerely. In fact, I'm shocked because I never thought that my relationship with Bright would have deteriorated to this level.
So my next question, has this letter affected your working relationship with Bright?
Absolutely, because I feel content that anybody can put a letter like that together.
It shows you that Bright's loyalty towards you and the company has changed.
Absolutely. There's no loyalty there.
Do you consider these comments to be gross subordination towards you?
Absolutely. I mean, how dare he misinterpret me to that degree? That's a deliberate attempt at misrepresentation. Sorry.
Did he question you during the meeting as to what you meant by that phrase, kill anyone?
Not at all.
So you weren't under the impression at all that he felt threatened?
Absolutely, not at all.
Thereafter, did he ever come to ask you to explain your comments as he didn't
Never.
understand?
Never.
All right. On another note, Mrs. Dick, we've got another incident involving a funeral of Prince Khumalo, who was an employee of this company. Can you just tell us how the company generally handles funerals of employees?
Okay, generally speaking, what happens is that we're normally notified either by a family member or by a close friend within the organisation, okay, who's aware of the issue from the family. Now, generally speaking, what happens, because every family is different and they have their own social structure and their own wishes in terms of how they wish to memorize and bury their dead, okay, I prefer to select and appoint a company representative who is authorized to communicate with the family, and generally speaking, that individual is actually a close friend or someone who knows the family very well, or if there isn't a close, I will appoint the manager of that particular branch or one of the operations people to handle that particular situation. Through that person, we then make contact with the family, find out exactly how they want to run the funeral, who they want to actually be there, and we let it be known generally. We communicate to all of the staff who would be supporting that individual, whether in fact they want to attend the funeral. We find out where the funeral is going to be. We organise transport if it's necessary at that particular point in time. We do a costing in terms of the transport, and on a practical basis, I always attend every single funeral of every single employee, permanent employee of ours. It doesn't matter where it is. I have never not gone to a funeral, unless obviously I've been overseas, and I don't think any funerals have happened in that time that I can recall.
There's only one of Joseph, which you are right in office at that time.
That's right.
But the whole family was there.
Yeah.
Everybody was there.
And I make, and being obviously the company represents, I've always make representations to the family on behalf of the company. That's my function.
Okay. And is the purpose for appointing an authorised representative from the staff so that you have got a direct link to that person in terms of transport costs? You can authorise then how Transman will get to that.
It gives you one point of contact where the communication must run. Okay. Otherwise you've got half a dozen people running around just making a mess of things.
When you were advised that Prince Kamala had died, did you authorise Bride Phudi to arrange the funeral on behalf of Transman? Did you authorise Bride Phudi to be involved in any aspect of the funeral on behalf of Transman? Did you appoint somebody within Transman then to appoint somebody in Transman to represent the company to liaise with the family of Prince Kamala?
Yes, what happened was Hartwell Malenji, who is the chief gardener and to whom Prince actually reported, advised me that Prince had died. I immediately said to him, fine, would he please communicate and find out exactly who it was who wanted to attend the funeral, when was the funeral, because I hadn't been notified. And I had also heard through Samantha Hark, who's my PA, that Phudi and Dava, who worked with Prince in the Durban environment, because he'd been transferred there obviously, was also involved in this situation. As far as I was concerned, Hartwell was the company representative. I needed to make the necessary contact, do the investigation in terms of transport. I asked him to address it with Desiree Schreiber-Locke and also with Sushil Diva, both in terms of cost and in terms of practical application of the transport. And that is who I appointed.
So if you were advised that somebody like Phudi were involved in liaising with the family, but not liaising with yourself to tell him that he was communicating with the family, would you have a problem in terms of company policy?
Absolutely. It's definitely against company policy. You can't have too many people communicating. And as it so happened with the development of the events on the site, that I had to actually appoint Connie Masbuka to be the authorised company representative to communicate with the family. That was a few days later, so that I could understand exactly what was going on.
Now, Mrs. Dick, when people are employed by Transman, they sign an employment contract.
Correct.
They're all very similar, if not identical. Okay. Within the terms and conditions, do you make a point to state that the employee must agree to uphold the good name of the company at all times?
Absolutely. It's critically important because for the 24 years that Transman's been in business, we have built our region and built our credibility out in the market. We're people who can be trusted, we're people who are ethical. If we say we're going to do something, we do it. And that is the way that I've been able to build the reputation of the company. It's highly important.
Do you make your employees sign a confidentiality clause?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you make them sign a clause that morally they will do whatever is in the best interests of the company?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. And what is the penalty for those employees who do not abide by the terms and conditions of employment in that regard?
Generally, they end up being dismissed. But
you.
obviously, there's a disciplinary process that must be followed.
Mrs. Dick, are there any further points that you would like to put towards the committee here today?
I think that I'm actually saddened by what appears to me here, and particularly in terms of this letter and the involvement of the funeral. I'm very disappointed, and I think in terms of my relationship with Bright over the years, I have always trusted him in the past. I have always supported his endeavours in the past. I have tried to improve the situation. His previous manager, or still his current manager, the facilities manager, had been given specific instructions to create proper job descriptions, provide the training, get as many of these security guards, etc., employed on a permanent basis, and improve their circumstances, which did not happen. So that was a big disappointment to me. In terms of the separation of the division into a proper security division, that was always on the cards, has been for the last couple of years. And the appointment of Janssen as a security manager, those things are now being put into place. Correct, should have been done a long time ago. And in terms of my concern, I know that the caliber of security guards out in the market is far greater and is better than we currently have on site. And I know at the same time that the compensation that we pay our guards is way above the market. So in other words, it's a greater cost to us than is currently out there. And I just feel that, you know, in terms of the assistance I've tried to give them with providing the accommodation, being sensitive to not even my obligations as an employer, but more I look at the rounded person, I look at the whole picture, and I've tried to assist them in that regard. I'm actually disgusted that you could even think of putting something like this together, when he knows full well that that was never my intention.
Do you think that this relationship can ever be healed in light of that letter and the circumstances we've discussed?
No. I think this is a deliberate attack on me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all of my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Phudi, any question that you want to ask the witness? I didn't hear that.
I don't have any questions.
You don't have any questions. Okay. Coming back to the witness, I just want to find out something from the witness. When someone gets a contract of employment or getting employed, how many copies of the contract of employment does that person sign?
2 originals.
2 originals. And what happened to the 2 originals?
Well, one the employee keeps, okay, for their own record, and the other one goes into personnel file that we have here at head office.
And what's the purpose of the employee to keep one?
So they're well aware of exactly what their conditions of employment are. And they can refer to it at any point in time. They've always got it there for their own records.
Thank you. No further question? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Third person, my next witness is Thandeka Ndaba.
Thandeka Ndaba.
She can
Okay.
be called. Thank
Good morning, Thandeka. Good morning. Okay, just for the tape, that's Bright Phudi, okay? That's Esther, that's Leslie, and that's Page 1. Okay, the chairperson of this hearing. Okay, so the 2.
Okay. Thandeka, you just give us your full names?
Thandeka Precious now.
Okay. And are you the sister-in-law of the late Prince Khumalo?
Yes.
Okay. When did your brother-in-law Prince die? When did he die?
I think it was 27.
It was last Sunday, hey? And did you let anybody at Transman know that he had died?
Yes.
Who did you phone?
I phoned Bright at Monday.
And why did you phone Bright?
I phoned Bright because Bright is a best friend of Prince. And I don't know anybody from Transman without Bright. That's why I phoned Bright.
Transman, okay. You phoned Bright, did you want Transman to know of Prince's death?
Yes, I wanted, but I didn't ask Bright to convey the message to the Transman bosses. But I have tried to phone him on the following day to ask him to pass the message to the bosses. So they keep on saying, hold on, and I don't have enough money to phone them, the phone drops. Then I didn't try again. I think because I have phoned Bright will pass the message.
Okay, so you thought because you told Bright he will pass the message on to Transman. Okay. Did Bright did Bright ask when is the funeral when you spoke to him on the Monday?
I won't remember exactly, but I've told Bright that Prince has died. Then I remember that Bright asked me my phone number. And when I started to say 073, then the phone cut. Then I didn't dial again to tell when is the funeral, all that stuff.
Okay. Do you know if Bright phoned you or your family another time before the funeral?
No, I won't think so. I think Bright has got the number of Prince's wife.
Your sister?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe he phoned that number?
Maybe, but I'm not sure because my number was not allowed to answer the phone.
Okay. Did the family ask you to arrange Prince's funeral?
Yes.
Okay. Did you draft the program for Prince's funeral?
Yes.
Okay. I've got a program here. Can you look at it and just tell me, is this the program for Prince's funeral?
Yes, is it?
Okay. And is Bright's name on the funeral?
Yes.
And does it say there that he must speak on behalf of Bright's friends? Does it say on the funeral there that he must speak for for Prince's friends? Sorry.
No, I didn't get any call from Bright. I think Bright, because he's a friend of Prince, he will come.
Okay.
Then
so
I
you think he'll
decided
come.
to write Bright on the book.
Okay. And did Bright ever phone you to say he's coming?
No, he didn't phone. I think when Bright is not coming, he's not yet in on the funeral, I think Bright is on duty, that's why he was not in.
Okay. So were you disappointed he wasn't there?
I was very disappointed.
Yeah, and he never let your family know he's not coming, hey?
No, he didn't.
Okay. And you also see there on the funeral program, there's a name, it's Mr. Duck, but it's supposed to be Mr. Dick.
Yes.
How is his name there? Did somebody get asked to put his name on the program?
Yes.
What happened? Did you get a phone call?
Yes, I did get the phone.
And what did the person tell you?
He says Mr. Dick wants to be on the program. Yes.
Okay, and did you get told anything about Mrs. Dick on the program?
No, I didn't get anything from Mrs. Dick. I get it on, I think it was on Friday or Thursday late. So I've decided to write Mrs. Dick with a pen so that he must get a time to talk.
Okay, but were you only told Mrs. Dick is coming after the program? It's
Yes.
already done.
Yes.
So I just want to check, so did somebody phone you and say you must put Mr. Dick's name
Yes.
down on the program?
Yes.
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 It wasn't your decision, somebody told you to put it down.
Yes, somebody told me.
And do you remember who that person was who told you to do that?
I won't remember because I've got two phones, Mandaba's phone and my phone to answer. So I think every day I have received maybe 20 calls, 10. So I won't remember who phoned me, who was phoning me to tell me I must put Mr. Dick here.
Okay. And did you know anything in your family about Mr. and Mrs. Dick? Did Prince talk about Mr. and Mrs. Dick?
No, but I know Mr. and Mrs. Dick as the boss of Prince. I don't know anything.
Okay. Just bear with me 1 second.
Just also to recap, sorry, I want to find out, you say that you cannot recall a person who phoned you as it was two phones that actually you were looking after or taking care of. But the one who phoned you to put Mr. Dick on the, in the program, was it a man, or it was a voice of a man, or it was a voice of a woman?
Actually, I won't remember. If somebody would phone me and tell me, not everyone who was phoning you about Transman, maybe I will have that image to say it's a woman or it's a man or it's what. So I won't remember who was phoning. But I have that call.
So when you wanted to let Prince's employers know that he had passed away, Bright is the person that you phoned?
Yes, I phoned Bright because I don't have a number of Stephen. So I've decided to phone Bright.
Okay. And did you think that Bright then would organize the Transman people to come to the funeral if you tell him that Prince has died?
I've told Bright that if Bright can pass the message to their boss, it will be easy to me it would be easy for a Transman to know that what's happening.
And you couldn't give Bright your phone number because the phone cut off, but
Yes.
does he have the phone number for Prince or Prince's wife?
I think he got the number of Prince's wife. Yeah.
Is it because they're friends?
Yes.
Okay.
So as you're answering two phones, so did you phone back on Prince's wife's number?
Bright. No, I won't remember answering the phone from Bright. I know Bright and I know Bright's voice. So after everything, I think Bright didn't phone to my phone or to Mandaba's phone.
And were you disappointed he's not phoning?
Yes, I was disappointed. I think maybe they don't have the number of wife.
But
Because the Transmen know my number and 70's phone number, I think they will phone if they've got some problems.
And did Kanye Mazibuko phone you after that to arrange?
Yes, I remember Kanye.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, that's all the questions I have for this witness.
So when Kanye Mazibuko phoned you, did she mention that is Kanye?
Maybe maybe Kanye names late that I am talking to Kanye. I didn't ask anybody who was phoning me who I am talking to.
Oh, okay.
I just answered the phone. Then I think they know me, although they do not see me, because they only say hello Tandega.
Okay.
Yes, then they pass the message. I only take what they say. Maybe after that they say I am Kanye. Oh, I am speaking to Kanye.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, if I could just resume a couple of questions. Did a white man ever phone you about the funeral, Mr. Dick?
I think he phoned for a direction.
Yes. Did you phone Mr. Dick yourself to tell him about the funeral, Prince dying?
No, I didn't phone.
So do you think then that somebody at Transman let Mr. Dick know about the funeral?
Sorry?
Do you think that somebody who's working here let Mr. Dick know about the funeral?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think it's a one company, Johannesburg and Durban. When I phone here, I think they will pass the message to the member in Durban. Yes.
Only told Bright, eh? So.
Yes, I only told Bright.
Okay. Okay.
Do you think perhaps maybe your sister, Bright's wife, Prince's wife, sorry, did you phone Mr. Dick to make him aware about the Prince's death?
No, she was not allowed to answer the phone.
Okay.
He just told me that I must phone. I must phone here to tell the Prince it's not happening.
Bright, that's the witness. Do you want to question the witness or ask any questions to the witness?
No.
You don't have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
What do you say when he says that they were, as a family, they were like disappointed, about you not coming in or ending the funeral?
I was disappointed not to attend the funeral. And then what happened
I think that's more for his evidence for me to question him.
on the 27th, on Sunday?
Okay, that's fine. No, you'll continue with that. Okay, what I will do, yeah, the witness you can take the witness out, and then you can conclude.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes, sir, just for the record purpose, that's witness number 3, okay, which is Mr. David Moahi. Mr. David Moahi, the parallel, that's Mr. Bright Phudi, okay, that is Esther, for HR, that's Leslie N, okay, the complainant, and that's Bethuel as a chairperson of this hearings. Right. Over to you, Les.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Moahi, on the 26th of January 2006, did Mrs. Dick ask you to attend a meeting with Jane Manyanka to talk about her living arrangements?
Yes.
Could you just tell us what was said in that meeting, please, with Jane?
On that meeting, Mrs. Dick was concerned about Bride's living arrangement with Jane at number 23. She told Jane that she does not have a problem with her having a relationship with Bride. But the concern was, it looks like they are living together continuously at number 23. And Bride was given an accommodation at 28. She does not have a problem if Jane goes to number 28 rather than Bride coming to number 23, due to the fact that number 23, her home is there as well as the head office is there. So the concern was that if there is a leak of information whatsoever, she's giving up a security. So therefore, she would like Jane and Bride probably to an alternative arrangement for Bride to move back to number 28, because that's what he was allocated, to live there free of charge with company expense.
And when Mrs. Dick was speaking to Jane, how was her tone of voice? Was she angry with Jane? Was it a nice discussion? What was the tone?
The tone was very, Mrs. Dick is quiet, is calm, and with no sign of anger whatsoever. Sure. Because I assume that Mrs. Dick and Jane have a long-standing relationship since Jane has been working for her personally for a long time.
The following day, on the 27th of January 2006, were you asked to attend another meeting, with this time with Bright Phudi, regarding the same situation?
Yes.
Was there anybody else present in that meeting?
Janssen Forte.
Okay, could you tell us what happened in that meeting, please?
Mrs. Dick told Bright that she wants Bright to hear what she told Jane from her rather than from Jane. And she repeated exactly what she said from Jane, to say, Bright, listen, I don't have a problem with you staying with Jane. My concern is that you are staying at number 23 continuously. You are allocated number 28. So therefore, I'd appreciate if maybe you guys, if you want to be together, can you go to number 28 as opposed to Jane, as opposed to you coming to number 23. The reason being, this is a head office, and she's concerned about confidentiality of information, leak of information whatsoever regarding the security. And yeah, that was it.
Okay. What was Mrs. Dick's tone of voice like during that meeting?
She was as usual, like as in when she addressed Jane, she was fine.
Okay. If Mrs. Dick said something similar to both Jane and to Bright, I just want to ask, did Jane ever come to you to complain about what Mrs. Dick said to her at that meeting?
No, she never came to me.
Okay.
In actual fact, Jane never said anything.
After this meeting, did you receive a letter from Bright Phudi dated the 2nd of February 2006?
Yes, I received a letter, but prior to that, book with Bride.
Okay, was that before that? Okay.
Yes. Prior to that, Bride came to me about a statement which was like uttered by Mrs. Dick.
Okay, could you tell us what the statement was that was uttered by Mrs. Dick?
Mrs. Dick says, in actual fact, it's not a new statement. She says it to everyone, even to management. She said she will do anything or fight anyone who poses a threat to the company. And basically, she's having a big responsibility. And then she concluded by saying, we employ about 10,000 people. Just imagine each person is responsible for 10 people. If you multiply that, it's an enormous responsibility. So she would not take any risk. For anyone who's posing a threat, she would do anything. She will fight that person to bits, whatever.
Okay. During that meeting when Mrs. Dick uttered those words, did Bright Phudi question her as to by that, or did it seem as if he understood what she meant by that?
No,
sentence?
in fact, when Bright never uttered any word except for saying, I understand the responsibility that you're carrying, I'm willing to cooperate.
So he confirmed that he understood
Yes,
what she meant by
yes,
that.
Yes.
Okay. So you said that after that meeting you spoke to Bright Phudi.
Yeah, Bright came to my office. He says, listen, I was concerned about Mrs. Dick's statement to say.
So
it sounded like a threat.
Was this immediately after the meeting or sometime thereafter?
It was something.
Okay.
Yes. And then I said, Bright, Mrs. Dick, it's not for the first time that he uttered such a statement. He told senior managers, so there's nothing to worry about. I even said to Bright, for example, if you think that statement poses a threat, or Mrs. Dick would want to kill you, what does she have to gain by killing you? So Bright says, no, I understand what you're saying. So I said, listen, Mrs. Dick has got nothing to lose. Figure of speech, Mrs. Dick is trying to say you will do anything. You will fight anyone who poses a threat. He normally says to senior management, he has addressed us before as managers. He said that statement. So Mrs. Dick is not going to kill you. He's got nothing to gain by killing you. In fact, I even made a statement that, I mean, if you look at Mrs. Dick, I mean, they've worked hard, they've got money and stuff like that. I mean, Bright, come on, why would Mrs. Dick want to kill you? Then I thought the conversation is ending there. Then
So were you convinced at that stage that Bright, under context in which Mrs. Dick had uttered those words?
Yes, yes. And then we parted ways with Bright. And then the following day, I think, yes, when I came in the morning, there was a letter which I was given by Esther.
Is this the letter you're referring to?
Yes, that is the letter. And then I was surprised of this letter because I've spoken to Bright to say, no, Mrs. Dick would not kill you, and it does not, pose any threat whatsoever. And then surprisingly, the letter was there. That gave me an impression that means Bright was never satisfied. But at the time when I spoke to him, he never said, I'm not satisfied about what you said.
So the opportunity for him to have said that he did not understand was when he was still speaking to you in that meeting, after the meeting with Mrs. Dick.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Basically, the impression of this letter, I'm thinking that maybe Bright was convinced by me that Mrs. Dick didn't mean that.
But thereafter spoke to other individuals who convinced him otherwise. Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility because I would assume we Africans, we speak the same language, so basically I would have thought that he understood me better.
So when you spoke to him in the meeting with just the two of you, did you speak to him in his native language that he understood?
Yes.
Did he ever say to you that he did not understand what you were saying?
No.
So as far as you're aware, you cleared up any misconceptions that he might have had
Yes.
at that time. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. That's all my questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any question?
Questions? Right.
Do you have any question to ask the witness number 3?
No.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. But for the next witness, Janssen Forte.
Just for recap, that's witness number 4. That's Johnson. Johnson, just to introduce everyone who's around here, that's Bright Phudi, okay, who's a security supervisor. That's Esther, human resource side, and that's Leslie Ann, Marshall, who is a complainant, and I'm Paithwell, a chairperson of the Sierra. Over to you.
Thank you. Mr. Forte, on the 27th of January 2006, were you requested to attend a meeting with Mrs. Dick, David Moahi, and Bright Phudi?
That's right.
Can you tell us what happened at that meeting, please?
Mr. Dick was, Mrs. Dick was addressing Bright with regard to spending here with the jail. And from my side is that the atmosphere in the office, it was like, how can I say, friendly. There was no arguments or aggressiveness or nothing like that. And then Mrs. Dick was just mentioned about the company, that if anyone try, I mean me myself, I would say that if anyone try to bring it down or something, that she will like kill the person, but it was not mean or directed to Bright. And then I think 2 days later, 3 days later, I was asking Bright, why is you quiet? Then he said that he's afraid Mrs. Dick said this, I'm going to kill him. And I said, no, Bright, this was not directed to you. Because there, if he had felt that it was directed to him, then he had the right to ask Mrs. Dick or to say or to say something in the office, in the presence, but he didn't.
And was it a couple of days later only that he brought up his fears to you? Did he not speak to you immediately after that meeting?
No.
So as far as you were concerned, he was quite happy with the meeting, he understood it?
Yeah.
Did he show it all in the meeting that he didn't understand what Mrs. Dick was saying?
No, he understood everything.
Did he show that he was afraid of Mrs. Dick in the meeting?
No.
Does he generally have a good relationship with Mrs. Dick as far as you've seen? Or you know?
Because they in the office, she was speaking to him and they communicate well with each other.
After you explained to Bright Phudi your interpretation of what Mrs. Dick meant, do you think he understood what you meant?
Yeah, he did.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
And how long did you take Bright to approach you? Like you said that, you know, you realize that Bright is quiet, and when you ask her, say, Bright, why you are so quiet? He says he's afraid that Mrs. Dick is she's going to kill him. From how many days from that meeting?
Our meeting was when
27th of January.
It was, when was it?
3 days later, 4 days later?
Yeah, plus minus 4 days. 4. No, but we were in the office and I was asking him. We would talk, me and he and Mitchie, we would talk about security. And I was sitting like that and I was asking him, is there anything was wrong? And he mentioned it.
Any question, Brad, that you want to ask witness number 4? No question. No question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Just for recap, that's witness number 5. Can you tell us her name? Kanye. Kanye, to introduce the panel here, that's Bright Phudi, that's Esther from Human Resource, that's Leslie Ann Marshall as a complainant. My name is Bethel as a chairperson. Over to us.
Okay, Ms. Mazibuko. How did you learn that Prince Kumalo, an employee of Transman, had died?
From Bright.
What did Bright tell you regarding Prince's death?
I saw Bright at number 17, and then he said to me, did you hear the story? I said, what story? He said, Prince passed away. I said, when? He said to me, I understand they say on a Sunday. I said, who told you? And then he said to me, the wife phoned him and then told him. I said, can you please just give me the telephone number to verify is the truth or not? Then I phoned the wife. It was the truth.
Was this on the next Monday, the next day? Was this on Monday?
It was on Monday. I phoned the very same day on Monday, around about 2 to 3.
Okay, where did you get the phone number for the family?
From Bright.
From Bright, okay. So you phoned the family. Can you tell us who you phoned and what they said?
I phoned the wife. Actually, the telephone number, the one Bright gave it to me, it was for the wife. I phoned the wife. The wife, she said to me, yes, it's true. It's Kanye, and I want to find out because Bright told me that Prince passed away. She said to me, yes, it's like that. Just ask when. She said to me on Sunday. I said, okay, fine. It's so bad to hear the story. And then she said to me, there's a telephone number. It's for my sister, Tandeka, and also my one. If you want to contact her, but you must contact on Tandeka's one. I said, okay, fine.
What happened next regards to the funeral for Prince? Did you play any part in trying to help Transman arrange the funeral?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
It was on a Wednesday because I was keep on asking Mujaki, Emily Mujaki, ask what's happening now because, you know, as a staff, if passed away, we always handle the situation, collection, whatever. So she said to me, no, she's waiting for Sushil and Samantha. It was on a Tuesday. Okay, fine. Wednesday morning I asked what's happening, but she said to me, the thing is that Samantha, she must contact Mrs. Dick, also Sushil. I said, but can you say that now it's getting late? People, they must know that they are going or not. We can't just, with the 11th hour, we said we are leaving. Then she said to me, what step we want to do? I said, okay, fine, let me do this. Let me go to Desiree Shagalok. And then I went to Desiree Shagalok. And then I asked to talk to Desiree, explain everything. Desiree Shagalok, she said to me immediately, let me SMS to Mrs. Dick. Come back to me around about past 12. I said, okay, thank you. I went there to my office and then I came back around about past 12 and asked, what is the story? And then Desiree Shagalok, she said to me, Mrs. Dick, she said she can have, but they've got the bus. I think the bus it says 6,200 and something. So Transman will carry half, and also we colleagues who can carry half. I said, hey, but it's gonna be difficult for us to do that. I know that people, if you must pay, they won't go. So what if there's I can organize maybe a transport, the cheapest one, find out, and then come back to you. At least you can help us about the transport. Speak to Mrs. Dick about that. I'll come back to you. She said to me, okay. In that situation, also, it's a good idea. Go to Sushil and stop Sushil. He mustn't organize what you call the bus before you can find out, guys. And also, I'll phone Mrs. Dick and tell Mrs. Dick the story. She asked me, how many people? I said, for me, what I know, it's plus minus 15 people.
At that stage, I said to you whether or not he's going to the funeral.
Before I found out everything, I didn't even ask Bright. I said, I'll tell the colleagues if I can find the right story. I can't just ask the people that, guys, we are leaving. Meanwhile, we are battling. Then I just go. I couldn't find Sushil. I just explained to Dora, I said, this the situation, guys. It was Dora and Katie at the reception. I said, if guys, you can find out the transport, the cheapest cook, it will be fine. They say, okay, fine, they're going to phone, and then they're going to find out. Luckily, Dora, she found the Kumbi, it was 3,000. The other one for Katie, it was a bit expensive, and one for Lady. And then by that time, I said, okay, 3,000, at least the transport can carry for us to go down there. Then I just went to I said, we've got a problem, there's a situation, can you please just help us? We don't know what we must do. I spoke to the colleagues, but they say they are not problem. Then she said to me, what is the problem? I said, there's a situation, we want to go, but we don't have money to pay. He said to me, okay, how much the transport? I said, 4,000. That was said to me, I'll come back to you. I said, it's fine. And he came back to me, he told me, he said, everything is fine. Go to Desiree, and then she will tell you the whole story. And I was happy about that. I said to Mrs. Dick, she said she will carry the cost.
Okay, so Desiree and Mrs. Dick had spoken and
so.
yeah, said that they could pay for the transport.
Yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Dick try and help with the transport at all? Mr. Graham Dick?
Yes, on when was it? On Wednesday, the time I just came here to the meeting, down there to the meeting, they say, all the colleagues must go down and discuss what's going to happen. I saw Mr. Dick while I was crossing. He was at the gate. He was talking to
The gate at
security.
which property?
Number
23 young
23, yes.
yeah.
He just greeted me and then he asked me, guys, are you going down to the funeral?
How did Mr. Dick know about the funeral?
I don't know. I didn't even ask.
Okay.
Yes, I said, yes, we are going, but we are still going to discuss about the transport, whether we're going to get it or not. Then he said to me, if, like, for instance, if we can't get the transport, I must make sure that I just contact him, and then you'll try to offer us a transport. I said, okay, fine.
Was Mr. Dick present when you were about to leave on the Friday to go to the funeral?
Yes.
What happened then?
He was with Petros. He just came. I was inside to the taxi, outside, and then he just came, and then he greeted everybody, and then the last word he said, guys, see you there tomorrow. I will be there tomorrow. But he never told us the time. We said, okay, fine. After the
And did he say to you how he knew that the funeral was tomorrow and where it was?
No one asked anything to Mr. Dick.
Okay. All right. When did you arrive? Was it in Ladysmith for the funeral?
Ladysmith.
When did you arrive at Ladysmith?
After 12. I can't remember, but it was after 12.
Okay. Were you asked at all to check the program on behalf of Transman to check that it was correct?
Yes. Bethel phoned me. He said to me, can I just do a favor? When we arrive there, I must make sure I just contact the family and find out about the program.
Was this from the request of Mrs. Dick, or don't you know?
I can't remember whether it was a request from Mrs. Dick or what. I can't remember because I was so tired. And then I said, okay, fine, I'll do that. And then Bethel said to make sure that each and everything I must contact Mrs. Dick because she must know each and everything. And also I told him, I said, I know that because David Muahi told us there down the setting, we must make sure that we must communicate with Mrs. Dick, we must give Mrs. Dick support.
Okay, when you spoke to David Muahi, did he give you guidelines as to how you as Transman must behave at the funeral and on the bus, etc.?
Yes, he told us, he said, you know, we must make sure that we must just greet Mr. Dick, keep away to Mrs. Dick, to Mr. Dick. We must also give Mrs. Dick a support, and then we must be in uniform. We must make sure that we are in uniform.
So was it made quite clear that you were representing Transman, the company, with going to the funeral? So it wasn't you privately going to see Prince, it was Transman showing their respect for Prince at the funeral.
We already organized, always we used to organize the uniform. We can't just go to the police funeral not wearing a uniform.
So you were used to this at Transman. This is the way it's always done at funerals. Okay. All right. So you're at Ladysmith. You get asked to check the program. When did you check the program?
We checked the program. It was past 7. Yeah, in the morning.
On Saturday morning?
Yeah, on Saturday morning.
And the funeral was later on Saturday, is that correct?
Yeah,
later in the morning.
It was 1 o'clock. The service started 11 o'clock.
Okay.
So we checked that before everything started.
What did you see? Well, can I hand you program, if you can confirm that this was the program from the funeral? Is this the program for Prince Kamala's funeral?
Yes.
Okay. And is the name of Bride Phudi written there on the program? When you saw that, what did you think?
The minute we saw this, and it was me and Dora and Kathy, we were asking each other who was preparing the program, but no answer. I've said, guys, let's call the lady. We must ask because they say everything must be in order. We called the lady. The name is Tandega. I asked Tandega who was preparing the program. Tandega said to me, it's me, Kanye. I said, okay, fine. Put Bride there. She said to me, she's the one who decided to put Bride because she knew that Bride is the best friend to Prince.
And where did Bride and Prince meet each other? Would it be at Transman?
Must be.
Okay.
Must be. And then we just see here it says, we were even laughing, saying, Mr. Dark, who put here Mr. Dick? And then also the lady, she said, somebody phoned, they must put Mr. Dick.
Did you phone the family to say that Mr. Dick's name must be put there?
No.
Do you know who phoned the family to say
No.
Mr. Dick's name was put there? Who from Transman are you personally aware of that phoned Prince's family regarding Prince's death?
Come again?
Who do you know from Transman that phoned Prince's family after he died? You phoned?
I phoned, and also, as far as I know, Bright phoned, and Atwell also phoned.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So when you saw Mr. Dick's name there, what did you think?
I was thinking why they put Mr. Dick, because what I understand, they say it's Mrs. Dick. She's the one who going to represent Transman.
Because does it say on the program that Mr. Dick is going to represent the company? Just read what it says with Mr. Dick.
It says the person who's going to talk on behalf of Transman, which is Mr. Dick.
Yes.
Yes.
So what did you do then to
I thought
rectify
that the lady
it?
was next to me, and then I asked who put it, but she told me the story that somebody phoned. I said, okay, fine. Let me find out. I phoned Mrs. Dick. As Bethel said, I must try to communicate with Mrs. Dick. First I phoned Bethel, yes. I still remember I phoned Bethel. I said, Bethel, on a program they just put Mr. Dick. I don't know why. He said to me, can you please just phone Mrs. Dick and tell the story and find out what's happening. I phoned Mrs. Dick in the morning. I said, Mrs. Dick, they put Mr. Dick here on the program, so I don't know what must I do. Then Mrs. Dick said to me, can you please contact the MC and the person who was busy printing the program and ask. I said, okay, fine, I'll do that. Immediately I just asked the lady, but she denied to tell us. She said she won't tell us. There was lots of people phoning. I can't remember. I said, but did you remember me? She said to me, yes. The minute when you phoned me, you used to put your name, it's kind of speaking, and then ask 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ancient plan. We said, okay, fine. Mr. Dick, she's not coming. Can you please just cancel this, Mr. Dick, and then we're going to put Mrs. Dick, the CEO of the company. She's the one who's coming now, but Mr. Dick is not coming. And then she said to me, okay, fine. You can do that. Immediately I requested pencil, and then they gave it to me. I said, Mr. Dick, I just put Mrs. Dick. On behalf of Bright, because I knew that Bright is not coming, I also cancelled. I put a Atwell in Mr. Muringi.
Okay, so you had to change Bright's name then because he didn't arrive at the funeral.
Yes,
Did he tell
told
you
me.
that he wasn't?
Yes, I asked, I said to Bright, everything now is fine, but to speak on behalf of us about the transport. So now, are you willing to go or
sorry,
not?
sorry, no. I think you misunderstood my question there. Just wondering, I'm just saying, when did you find out that Bright wasn't going to the funeral?
I found out on a Thursday.
On the Thursday. Okay. But before that, did you presume he was going because he was the best friend of Prince? Okay. Did you see Mr. Dick at the funeral, Mr. Graham Dick?
Yes.
When did he arrive? Did he arrive after it started?
Ah.
Did he give any speech at the
No.
funeral? Did Mrs. Dick give a speech at the funeral?
Yes.
On behalf of the company?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything further that you have to tell us about the arrangements with the funeral? No. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all my questions.
Any question, Bart, that you want to ask?
No question.
No. Okay.
Can we clarify something here? Sorry. Kanye was saying Leslie Ann asked who phoned that site. She says she herself phoned, and she knows that Hartwell phoned and then Bright. So how did she know that these other people phoned that site?
You can ask her that question.
So they told you?
Yeah,
They
Bright
said
told
even
me.
Bright phoned that site?
No, Bright told me.
Or Bright?
Yeah,
did?
yeah.
Or
Yeah,
because
they said, can I find out a phone? When is there was called the funeral this Saturday, and also Atwell also told me about the time of the funeral. But it was from Atwell. He told me the wrong story. They said the funeral is 11 o'clock, but Bright said they say it's 1 o'clock. So it was a confusion there. told. I said, okay, fine, because now I've got 2 stories. Let me phone
Tandega.
Actually, Tandega, she's the one who was having the cell phone for Prince.
Princess
Yes.
wife.
Always I was using the telephone number for the wife, and she's the one who was answering the phone. Yes.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Any further question?
No.
Thank you. Okay. Over to you, sir.
Okay. As I've said before, that I have a blank mind when it comes to education and understanding the meaning of, I'll start at charge number 6.
Okay.
As it reads that the victimization and the harassment of the chief executive officer, in that matter, for myself, I don't think I did harass the CEO of the company, and I wasn't aware. She had never spoken to me and used the word kill when any conversation, so it was new to me. Yes, I did go to David Mwafi. I did go to Janssen. I did ask them. Okay, whatever they said to me, it doesn't mean that at the end of the day they have to judge. Okay, charge number 7, abusing the privilege of being given company accommodation at 28 Seymour Road, Parktown. Yes, I do agree. In terms of I've been given that accommodation, but it turned out that I did have a relationship with Jane. And then what I did, I spoke to Jane, Jane, can you please inform Mrs. Dick, if possible, about our relationship, so that she mustn't be surprised anyway, anyhow, she must know. And then Jane said, okay, I'll do so. Okay, she did. And then she came back to me, and then what she said to me was that, okay, Mrs. Dick is quite happy, and that because at this stage you are not a stranger, you are working for the company, so she doesn't have any problems. Okay. She visited me, I visited her. But some of the times you find that she works till 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then I have to come maybe this side. And then, yes, I wasn't allowed really to stay here. No, but eventually it happened. And then I think it was just, the relationship was fine between me and Mrs. Dick, everybody within the company. And then I'll go, yeah, before I proceed, at some stage there were complaints that, rumors, something like that, that I'll be for that Jane's room, whatever, and then Janssen was asking Hartwell, why am I staying there? He asked Amechi, why is Bright staying here, all that stuff, and then, yeah. And then, charge number 8. before I got there, on the 27th, it was on Sunday, I was sitting at number 28 on the grass in the garden. I saw somebody approaching the gate. I realized that it was Prince's brother-in-law. It seems that guy is the son of Prince's sister. Okay, I approached. I just stood up. I went. He said, "No, I want to see you." I opened the gate. We went where I was sitting. We did sit down, and then we greeted each other. And then that guy, I said to him, "No, I heard Prince is sick." The guy said to my mate, "If you can see Prince, you can't believe your eyes. He is no longer Prince that you used to know." So, as I'm here to let you know about that. And I'm having my brother who's looking for a job as a driver. I'm having his CV here. I told that guy, what does your brother have a CV? Is he having a PDP? Because a Transman, they don't just hire a driver. It depends on what do you have. Where was he working before? He said, no, he was a taxi driver. I said, no. Transman won't assist him in that situation according to what I know. But he can try anyway. Maybe he can go to Dismissal or whatever, as he is living in GB. And then after that, I told that guy, my man, I'm very sorry to hear about the Prince's situation. And unfortunately, this weekend that we are approaching, I've got an appointment that my child is having a problem, my house is having a problem. If it wasn't that, I was going to say, okay, just accompany me to see Prince. He said, no, I understand. And then, yeah, we just parted ways in that way, each other, that let's hope Prince will be fine. And then on Monday, I think it was around 4 or something like that, this young lady was here. I know her. I used to spend my time, a lot of my time with Prince. And then we were visiting her and his wife in GB. So she called. She told me that that Prince is no longer with us. He passed away. Okay. Well, I was surprised, and then I was shocked. During that conversation, I said to her, what I will do, I will try to pass the message anyway, and then can I have your phone number? When she was reading the number, maybe I did write 4 numbers, and then she was cut it off. And then from that Monday, I never spoke to her again. And then, yeah, the arrangements done, and I was not involved in all those arrangements which were done regarding Prince's funeral. I don't know what was happening.
But Asaf, just to chip in there, what did you do after getting the message?
Oh, okay. After getting the message, their Tandy was coming. I think he was with it was Hartwell. He was coming with his Tembiso, entering the premises. I told Hartwell, we were standing in front of the Oak Cottage door, right at the driveway. And then Tandy and Jay were coming. And then immediately, I don't know whom I was speaking to, but I was speaking to somebody. It can be God for whatever. And then Jane collapsed. She just went No, we attended that. Jansen was around there, and then when they were after assisting Jane, I went to the guardhouse. I called the reception. I spoke to Sue. I said to Sue, "Ma'am, I've got bad news. Do you know Prince?" She said, "Yes, I know Prince." I said, "She is no longer living. She is no longer with us. Please, ma'am, can you let everybody know?" She said, "Yes, I will do that." And then it's ended there. You know? And then the week was continued, and then all those arrangements, that who is going, who was not going. I remember one day I entered, I don't know, Emily Mujak knows when did she start doing the collections. I entered the office. She said to me, "Bright, your brother passed away. Are you going?" I said, "No, I've got some problems to sort out this weekend, so I won't be able to attend the funeral." She said, "Yeah, but it's your best friend." I said, "Yeah, I understand. And I'm concerned too about what had happened, but just because of these problems that I'm having at the moment, you know, I can't." And then, yeah, just like that, Hartwell came to me and said, "Bright, have you spoken to Prince's wife?" I don't know when was it, but after this whole incident, I told Hartwell that I haven't spoken to Prince's wife yet. He said, "No, I spoke to her yesterday." No. I said to Hartwell, "You know what I'm going to do? I will get a time. If I have a time, I will call her." Believe me, till today, I've never had a word with her, Prince's wife, and I thank God for that. On Saturday, in the morning, I don't remember what was the time, but it was in the morning, maybe around 6, 6:30. Someone, a friend of mine, sent me a message, just a simple message, and then I did wake up, I read that message again. And then I said, "No, man, what must I do? I have to speak to one of the guys in Prince's family." I didn't want to Prince's wife, because what I was going to say, I know how it is. No. I said, "Okay, what must I do?" I called Jane. When I called Jane, I said, "Jane, can you please do me a favor? I want to speak to one of 2 guys there, not even a brother of Prince. I know Prince's brother, only one, not, no. The guy who was here on Sunday, his name is Ngopo. And then the other one, his name is Zwelitin. Can you please take your phone and ask anybody around there if they know Ngopo or Zwelitin? I want to speak to one of them." Luckily, this lady, Tandega, I know her as Ndombi. Tandega is a new name for me. Was around, and then Jane said, "Okay, can you speak to this lady? She's here near me. It looks like she's one of the family members." And then I spoke to her. I asked her, "Can I please have a word with the Ngopo and or Zweltin?" She said, "Okay, just hold on, the Ngopo is here outside." I did all, and then she gave the phone to Ngopo. And then I told Ngopo how I was feeling. And then I did apologize from that guy that, you know, Prince was the best friend of mine, but just because I once mentioned to you when we meet on Sunday that I've got some kind of problems that I have to sort out. This had happened, and then those problems are waiting. So I'm right in Mpumalanga now, trying to solve those problems. And then I said to him, if one day I will have that time, what I need is to go and see Prince's mother, his wife. I even asked, when is Prince's wife coming back to Joburg? She said maybe after some weeks. He said maybe after some weeks. So after I told him that I would like to go and see Prince's mother and wife face to face, to show them that I'm a human being, Prince was my friend, to, you know, console them of what had happened. He said, no, but if you have that idea, I will accompany you. You know, and then some of the things maybe that I've directed whoever here, my witness will be Wesley, your guy. Wesley called, asked him for direction. The lady at the gate was there. I said, you know what? I only know my way from here to Ladysmith, but I've been never in Prince's hometown. You know, I know it's in Rosebomb, but I can't confirm that. And then that lady said at the gate, now let me tell him that I can accompany because I know the way. And then yeah, I then told Wes that it just get to entry, drive to Ladysmith. What I will do to you, Wesley, I'll give you Prince's wife's telephone numbers, so that if you need any help, she will see what she can do for you. Because Wesley said he will leave here maybe 7 o'clock or whatever, you know. And then that was the end of the story. Okay. I don't think I have anything to say again, and you know, this giving false information. I don't know what false information I given to Prince's family. The only people, truly speaking, as I'm telling you, that Prince's wife, even today, you can call her if you have the number. She will confirm how many times have I called her. And then this guy, this Mopo guy, he doesn't have a phone. And the only people that I knew in the Prince's family is this lady was here, Prince's wife, 2 guys, Zwelithini and Mopo. And the only person that I have contact with is Prince's wife. That's the only person. And Prince's brother, we used it too, but he wasn't a friend of mine. No. So I think in all these charges, nothing to do with them. There is this one arranging for Mr. Dick. I'm not the member of the Kumalo family, and I'm not allowed that if you pass away and then I have to arrange for your funeral. How come? Will I do that? Because you have got your brothers, the Maviletas. They are the ones, you know. And then the mistake maybe the Prince Kumalo's family had done, they didn't know maybe Mrs. Dick and Mr. Dick are having problems. And then you, as a married man in our culture, you are the head of your family. Your wife cannot stand up and talk on behalf of you without being maybe, you know, if you are not there, then your brother will do that. I think so. It may happen that they take it that way in their culture, you know, but they can say for themselves, why did they do it, not me. You know? And then it comes again that I'm liaising with the senior employee of Transman, whom I was instructed not to communicate directly with such a person, which I don't know who is that person was. You know, yeah, you know, I don't know what to say. Bringing the name of the company into disrupt by purporting to arrange Prince Khumalo's funeral with his family, and then that family member that knows that I've arranged anything for Prince with him or her, they must say that. When was it? And then what was I arranging? What was I arranging? You know, all that stuff. So really, I'm not quite sure. You know, I was supposed to speak on behalf of Prince's friends. I didn't confirm it. And the letter of apology that maybe I was supposed to send for my absence, I wasn't invited. I didn't inform anybody that I was going to attend the funeral. You know, they did it. I don't know. You know, maybe I told someone, but frankly, I didn't. And they did it. You know, they did it. They didn't have that mind that I am not going to attend, as that guy was my best friend. You know, and then unfortunately, I didn't make it just because of some other problems. You know, but if I've asked to speak on behalf of him, that person must tell me when and when did I say that, and then because I'm not involved. We've got attended so many funerals anyway, but I don't remember us having such kinds of problems. And the only thing that happens, we just get told by the company that, guys, those who are attending the funeral, can you come forward? We just put our names. If you are going, you just say, I'm going, you know. So really, I don't have anything to say. And when it comes to my point of view, guys, I'm not trying to offend somebody. Esther is here. She's my witness. I've got some things that they could have been solved by the company. And then those things, like a place torturing me, whatever, it took the whole 2 months for the aid to solve this problem. It was thrown to Dimitru. When Dimitru came, from the 6th of December, Dimitru came here on the 30th of January. He told me that place had resigned. We were sitting here, you know. And then it makes me feel very much unprotected, you know. He's still going to prepare something to suspend place, all that stuff, and then, you know, letter of suspension, and then all of a sudden, I believe place has not resigned, because we sometimes see him around here, and then I'm not quite sure. And what I did from Mr. Dimitri, that his place was not found guilty by the company of what he did on me, can you please tell me what will happen if Place goes to another company tomorrow and asks for a job? He said, no. If that company phones to us and say, oh, we have got Mr. Phudi, we need any kind of references, we will tell them that that person is a bad person. And then I said,
okay, just chipping in, not to say that I'm like getting in between. Like I've said, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I do understand what you're saying. But what I'm trying to say now, let us not divert from what we're here for. I do appreciate you have presented yourself, okay, and say something eventually, okay, and yeah, what I'm expecting, for you to tell me is your defensive mechanism towards this allegation, which up to so far you have said a handful. If there's any more that you want to tell us in a defensive side of what the witnesses have said here. Or the charges. Okay? And before you say that, I just want to ask you one question, okay, which came out from the witnesses, which they, Tandega, the lady with the name of Tandega, mentioned that she's the one who phoned you, and under the pretext knowing that if she get hold of you, it's like getting hold of the company, because you are the only one that she knows or that came in her mind, okay? And Mr. Dick is not working, currently now is suspended from the company, okay? Whereby he's not up to date on knowing what is happening on a day-to-day, okay, running of the business within the company. So my question to you is, did by any chance, after getting this message, okay, pick up the phone and advise Mr. Dick about Prince's death?
No, I didn't.
So, with yourself, knowing the situation like you have mentioned in a statement, to say that maybe the mistake that the Prince family they have done is not the how did you put it, problems, or a problem between Mr. and Mrs. Dick, okay, and culturally you tell a man, not a woman. So, do you think who phoned Clem?
I don't have an idea, man.
Do you think maybe with that slogan that you have said now, that culturally is that you phoned a man, not a woman, do you think maybe the family?
No. What I'm trying to say, the family knows that the company is owned by Mr. and
Mrs. Dick. Exactly.
Yes.
I know that.
So that's why maybe they've decided to put Mr. Dick as the head.
But Mr. Dick is not aware that Prince died because he's not working for the company. That's all what I'm trying to say. He's not here on a day-to-day basis. You have received the call. You have confirmed to me that you have received a phone call. You have also played a role of conveying that phone call to Sue, okay, to like advise everybody, okay? So how did Mr. Dick come into the picture to know about Prince? That's all what I'm trying to establish.
Okay, let me put it this way. Did the family, Prince's family, know that Mr. Dick is no longer with the company?
I don't know.
So
that's the reason why I'm asking.
Even I don't know.
Also,
that's why.
Do you want to tell me that Prince family, they've got cell number of Mr. Dick and they don't have cell number of Mrs. Dick? Is what you're telling me. Because you're telling me now, the question is, does Prince family know the problem of Mr. and Mrs. Dick? I don't care whether they know it or they don't know it. At the end of the day, if then they did so, or they've got their cell numbers, did they phone them direct? That was my question.
So what must I say?
No, I'm just asking, I say, do you think, I don't say that, do you know that they did that? I say, do you think maybe Mr. Dick has become aware telephonically from the family, or do you think there's somebody else who would have advised Mr. Dick?
I don't know.
Okay. No further question. Can I excuse myself just for a second? I just want to go.
We should have a few minutes break just so that I can, like, you had the chance to question my witnesses. Now I've got the chance to question you.
Okay.
You're a witness. Do you understand?
No, you don't understand. You know, you understand correctly. Whereby, you know, we ought to like get as much information out of this in order we can be partial. Okay. Because we cannot just like, you know, take a shortcut to the problem.
But procedurally,
Yeah.
you question. Bright didn't question the witnesses. That was his
Exactly.
prerogative. I want to question him.
So that's why after each and every witness have said, you know, their side, you remember I've said, do you have any question, right? And they say, no question, remember. So,
To be put involved.
exactly. No, that's fine. So, but now...
What I was saying now, guys,
Mm.
I was telling you what I knew.
Okay. That's super.
I didn't have that power to question the witnesses because what they were telling wasn't what I was organizing or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, we can have 5 minutes break. The time now is 20 past 11. Let's come back 25 past 11. Great stuff. As we are back now from our 5 minutes, okay, over to you, Les, to carry on with questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Phudi, can we just start at charge number 7? Abuse of the privilege of being given company accommodation at 8 Seymour Road, Parktown. Okay? When you were giving your evidence, I wrote down exactly what you said about that. You said, yes, I wasn't really allowed to stay here, being number 23 Jan Smuts Avenue, but eventually it happened because the relationship was fine between me and Mrs. Dick and everyone within the company. So I just want to check, there's no argument, hey, that you agree that you stayed at Jane's room at number 23 Jan Smuts. Do you agree?
Yeah, there is no argument.
Okay. And there's no argument that you stay at number 28 Seymour for no charge, that Transman pays for that. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you agree that if you weren't staying at number 28, maybe somebody like Godfrey or somebody else who works for Transman, maybe they can be given that privilege to stay at number 28? Do you agree?
Fortunately, there I don't know because I'm still staying there.
Yeah.
The reason is
No.
that
Let me just put it another way. Let me just say, if you stayed all the time with Jane at number 23 and number 28 Seymour, it's now free. Do you agree that then somebody else from Transman could stay there if you were allowed to stay with Jane all the time?
no, I don't make decisions, ma'am. I can't say I agree or what. I don't make any decisions.
Answer that question. What was the question?
The question was, do you agree that if you were not living in number 28 for any reason, let's say for example you stayed with Jane at number 23, if number 28 was empty, your room was empty, do you agree that somebody else could stay in that room from Transman?
As I'm saying, I don't make decisions. That would be the decision of the person who owns that place.
Agree that Transman could, if they wanted to, if you moved out of number 28, that Transman can put somebody else in number 28?
If they like.
Yes, if they like. Do you agree that they could do that if they like?
Yeah, but even if whatever, ma'am, you know.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm asking you to to agree, or what I'm asking you is, agree that if you get given the privilege to stay at number 28 and you don't stay there, then somebody else who maybe would need a place to stay, you're stopping them to have a place to stay.
No, I don't have an idea of that.
Okay. The charges that you were abusing the privilege, the charge that you were given free accommodation, but then you were staying somewhere else. Do you agree with that?
I didn't know that it was the case.
Okay, all right. I think we've dealt with charge number 7. Charge number 6, victimization and harassment of the CEO in your letter to David Moahi, dated 2nd of February 2006, resulting in gross insubordination. I want to discuss that with you, okay? What did you think would happen when you wrote a letter that we've read out? I'll give you a copy so you've got it in front of you, this letter. What do you think will be the results when you give that to Mr. Moahi?
You know, that's why I've said I need a legal representation.
Now, what did you, Bright, feel? It's in your name, this letter. Did you read the letter?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's your thoughts. What did you think is going to happen in the company if you write a letter like this?
And then what did the CEO think to say these words to me?
Now hold on, Bright, you can't answer a question with a question. Okay? I ask you a question, you must answer that question. You can't question me. No, you can't question
let
me.
me put it this way.
What did you think is the result of writing a letter? What did you think was going to happen? I just want to know what you think is going to happen, because you wrote this.
I did.
So what did you think? You wrote the letter for a purpose. What did you think would happen after you handed Mr. Moahi the letter?
The reaction of thereof. What will be the reaction?
Let me make it easier for you. What did you think Mrs. Dick would think about this letter?
I don't know.
Why did you write this letter? Mr. Phudi, it's your time to defend yourself. You're still defending yourself. I'm asking you questions
I will
now.
never defend myself, ma'am, in this. I've said it before. I'll never defend myself in this.
What do you think will happen if Mrs. It's your employer, if you write a letter saying you think your employer wants to kill you? Do you think you can work at the company when you've said that?
I don't know, ma'am.
Do you think that Mrs. Dick will be happy to work with you if you write a letter saying you think she's trying to kill you?
I don't know.
Do you think you can still work for Transman if you accuse the CEO of the company of saying she'll kill anybody and that you've got concerns for your life?
I don't know.
Evidence was laid with regard to that funeral of Prince Khumalo, your friend, that Thandeka phoned you. Do you agree? She only phoned you at Transman to tell about Prince's death. Do you agree?
No, I don't know.
Do you agree that Thandeka told you so that you can tell the Transman people and the management of Transman about Prince's death?
I don't know.
Did you tell anyone in management about Prince's death?
I only want soup.
Did you tell, okay, who did you tell personally about Prince's death in the company? Sue, and who else?
Hartwell.
Hartwell? Anyone else?
You know, after...
No, I'm saying about who you told.
No.
Did you tell Kanye?
It may happen.
Yeah, because she said that you told her. Did you tell Mr. Dick that Prince had died?
No.
How did Mr. Dick find out that Prince had died?
I don't know.
How is your name on the funeral program?
I don't know. I can answer that question.
How is Mr. Dick's name on the program?
Prince's family can answer that question.
How is it that both your name and Mr. Dick's name is on the program together there?
I've got no
Only
idea.
two from Transman.
I've got no idea.
Did you understand that the family expected you to go to the funeral?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And do you understand that if you are dealing with Prince's family or going to the funeral, that you're representing Transman?
I know.
You know. Okay. Do you understand that you let Transman down, the name of Transman, because you didn't communicate properly with Prince's family regarding the funeral? Because they spoke to you.
No.
Do you accept that the family put their trust in you to tell Transman what's happening with Prince's death and the funeral?
I don't know.
Do you accept that the family would think that you must phone them to sort out the funeral between Transman and the family? Do you accept that's...
No.
Has Mrs. Dick, Mrs. Angela Dick, has she spoken at other funerals for Transman employees before?
Yeah.
And have those included the funerals of the African members of staff? Has she spoken at the funerals for the African members of staff that have died?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you accept then that it's not culturally impossible for Mrs. Dick to represent the company to speak at the African funerals?
I
Do
don't
you accept that?
I don't know.
Okay, I put it to you that it would be culturally acceptable. You can either agree to that or disagree, or have no comment. Take that as no comment. Do you agree that you could easily have just phoned the family once to say to them that somebody from Transman will speak to them about the funeral, and you apologize that you can't personally go to the funeral?
On behalf of Transman, no. On behalf of myself, as a Prince's friend, yes, I was supposed to, and I did.
Where did you meet Prince?
Right here in Transman.
At Transman. So if it wasn't for Transman, you wouldn't know that, right?
Maybe, maybe not.
And when Tandeka phoned you, she phoned Transman's telephone number to speak to you to tell you. Is that not true? Or that he had died?
Come again?
When Tandeka phoned you to tell you Prince had died, did she phone you on Transman's phone number or on your cell phone?
On my side.
On your cell. Did she Did you understand that she wanted to tell Transman that Princess died?
I've done that.
Did you tell Mr. Dick where the funeral would be for Prince?
No.
Did you tell Amy and Beatrice or Miranda or Scott where the funeral would be?
No.
Do you know that you're not supposed to speak to Mr. Graham Dick without the company's permission?
I've heard it.
Okay. Did you speak to Mr. Dick without the company's permission?
No, I've never spoken to him.
Did you see Mr. Dick when he was at 23 Jan Smuts Avenue in the week in which the funeral was being arranged? Did you see Mr. Dick here?
No.
Do you believe that you have still got a nice relationship with your employers at Transman?
I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Phudi, I just want to find out some few odds and all that, okay, before we can come to the second phase. In a statement, you said that Thandeka phoned you. Okay. And while he was giving you the telephone numbers, the phone cut off. Right? Agree?
Yeah.
But the question was asked now by Leslie Ann, complainant, to say that did Thandeka phone you knowing that at the end of the day when phoning you, the company will know? You said you don't know. And she repeated the very same question to say that who did you advise after getting a phone call from Thandeka amongst Transman management? You said that you did do. So which one is right and which one is wrong? Or am I going, maybe I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Do we need to play the tape back?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, as you were explaining, Brad, okay, you said that automatically when she phoned you, you were aware that you ought to advise the company. You were busy explaining and then you said, let's wait in order that can be in the tape. So what you are saying there? You said even if I got a phone call about Leslie Ann and somebody phoned me, so automatically I ought to advise the company, isn't it? Which that was an example. Right? So there was no question about it. So you were aware when Thandeka phoned you that you ought to ask Transman management about Prince death. Okay, passing from there, as actually probably maybe you don't want to repeat yourself. Right, I want to find out from you. Witness number one did point it out, clearly, about trust relationship, which has been broken. And I think also the complainant have also hinted the very same thing, that currently now, as that trust relationship is broken, do you think that are you safe currently to work for Transman, or still being employed by Transman? Yeah, please. Sorry. Right?
I don't know. I don't even know what is the whole issue about.
The question is a simple, straightforward question.
It's straightforward.
You wrote a letter. You wrote a letter, right, saying that you feel threatened because you've been promised to be killed. Okay. Something related to the letter, whereby you even went further down and say you need assurance, of your position at Transman that is safe. So my question is, as you went through this exercise now, do you still feel unsafe to work for Transman, or you feel safe? Mr. Phudi, I think I have a question to you, whereby I'm expecting an answer. It seems like we go now where we started, whereby we communicate and you keep quiet, and in the middle everything was going so smooth now because we were talking to one another.
It was going so smoothly because I was coughing out what I know. So all these questions that you are asking me, we are now back to what I don't know.
No, but it's not what you don't know, because this letter is signed here by yourself, right?
And then I'll be happy if I'll be represented by someone. And then unfortunately, that someone can't.
But that someone didn't write this letter. That's why I just needed clarity of that. It's written by yourself, not someone. So, it boils down to the same question that Leslie Ann was asked, that, did you write this letter? You said, yes. Okay, so you know the contents of the letter, you say it's yes. All right, so I'm asking you something that is related to this letter, nothing else. I say, you feel threatened here, is what your letter says, okay? You have confirmed also that you did speak to David, you did speak to Johnson, but they cannot judge you, is what you said, you remember? They cannot judge your thinking, that's why you wrote the letter. So my question now is, because David have tried to speak to you about this threat of, converting that to a threat, that you have been threatened to be killed, okay? And Johnson also, which you have confirmed, okay, that he did speak to you. How do you feel now? Are you still feeling threatened, or you are feeling safe? That's all my question that I want to know.
I don't know.
Okay. Going back to my other question, the first speaker, which is Angela Dick, pointed out clearly that that trust relationship is broken. You have break the trust relationship, because right away now I'm asking you about the allegation that you've put forward against her, and which you say you don't, okay? But which you accept that the letter, you wrote the letter yourself. So, as that relationship, trust relationship is broken, what do you think, what can we do, okay, to rectify that? Or to help that, I mean, to like help the situation? What can be done? What do you think that we can do? Yeah, Brad? Or must we get Esther to put it maybe in the easier language? Maybe to like be easier, but anyway here is in work. I mean, this letter that you wrote is really lovely English, and you know, it's sentenced correctly, so nicely. I mean, there's words here. What worries me as a chairperson, you said when we started that as you are not educated, you have already like said that, okay? Some other words of English, you don't understand them, okay? And you don't understand English that well. But if I read this letter here, okay, it tells me that a person that I'm talking to, he understands English very well. I mean, using the word like presence,
Sure.
appeared, very angry, manner towards me seemed hostile, you know, even the plural of it, you know, the singulars of it is so accurate, okay? Hostile, you know, spelling of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? As during the conversation, okay? It's a lot. It's a lot of words that actually I can take out to like say to you, right? Currently now, to say to me you don't understand English, you're bluffing me. I'm sorry to say that, I'm not judging you, but according to this letter, you are lying to me. Because you said that you wrote the letter and you said that you don't know English, so you are lying to me as a chairperson with the evidence that I've got in front of me here.
Let me tell you this.
Yes, sir.
I've got a case here within the company which wasn't solved.
Okay, that's the one you talked about, you know, it when we come to litigation, to tell me, you know, all that.
All this is about that letter. I've got no case anyway, but all what is here, I know nothing about it, and maybe for me to disappoint Mrs. Dick is that maybe I wrote a grievance form against the place because that's where things started changing anyway.
Yeah,
but this is a letter, right? It's not
I'm sorry. So, Brad, I'm not taking you out to what you want to tell me. There will be a time whereby you ought to give me, you know, ought to give me, and the complainant will give me the aggravating circumstances, okay? You know, then I can reach my verdict, okay? But right away now, I'm just trying to clarify things here, in order even when you come up with your mitigation, and even when the complainant comes with the aggravating, in order we can know where we stand. What I'm saying here is, I've got a problem as a chairperson, okay? When we started whereby, you know, you allege that, you know, you don't know, you allege that, you know, you are not educated. You know, there's quite a number of things that, but now, when, with the proof that I've got in my hands, that actually is attached with a signature, okay, a letter of consent. I don't know whether this is a grievance or is a consent, because there's no heading of really what this letter presents. But the letter, it states that, I mean, they've been called in Mrs. Dick's office. I think we have read that, I mean, through the whole hearing, you know, to different witnesses. The English, the grammar, the spacing, paragraph spacing here, you know, the words that are used there, they don't show me that I'm talking to someone who doesn't know English. They don't tell me that I'm talking to someone who didn't go to school. And you have confirmed throughout this year, this hearing, that yes, you know this letter, you wrote the letter.
Yes, that's why I've
So that's
asked
limits
for
in
a
short is that whatever we
legal
have discussed,
representative.
now, whatever we have discussed in the whole process, you have understand that clearly. You're just lying to me to say that you don't know.
Anyway, if you take it like that.
No, I'm not taking like that. That's I'm asking you to tell me. Okay. Let's pass there. I'm saying to you now, the trust relationship broken currently. Okay, as an employee to the employer, you have break that. What do you think we can do to remedy the situation in order things that can come back to normal? What do you think that can be done?
I've asked to be represented, so at the moment what you can do, just gather what you have collected and then take a decision. There is nothing that I can do because there are some things that had happened and they were not dealt with fair. So I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I might interrupt here, maybe to advise Bright that there's still one step that he and I need to perform, and that's to give a summary of everything and for us to argue the witnesses said something, etc. That's what happens at the end of the case. So it might be the time for both of us to do that, to give the summary of the events, because that then is your chance to say
whatever you're
you
telling me now.
agreed with the witness or you didn't agree, etc.
And to add whatever is out of line, whatever you want to add, that can motivate me, or that can help me, not even motivate me, help me to decide.
Yeah, but we have heard.
No, but we have questioned.
When they were talking,
no, but
you were listening, and then you brought me here, and then I think even now you are quite sure what you are doing, and you understand according to the witnesses, according to what I've said myself, you know where is the case going, and very unfortunately, I don't know why I'm here.
Okay. Anyway, because not getting joy to the question that Pride, I think we'll just go to the phase 2 immediately, in order we can just get to the bottom of this. Okay. Bright. Essentially, you have stated your side. You have heard the witnesses, and you have heard the complainant.
We'll override.
Okay, we'll come up with a closing statement from each, starting from the complainant side, and then we'll end up from Bright's side.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the problem we've had in this matter is that Bright Phudi has stated that he does not understand why he is here today, why he's being charged with the 13 offences in an inquiry notice. It seems strange to me he's asking that question, because for me the most serious accusation is accusation number 6, which is based on the letter that Bright Phudi wrote to David Moahi, dated the 2nd of February 2006. In this letter, he's questioning the CEO of his company, the person who is responsible for paying his salary and his well-being, whether she in fact intends to kill him. And for Bright Phudi then to state that he does not understand why he's here today and what these allegations are, it's just impossible, it's unheard of. He stated that he wrote this letter himself. Then, whilst Mr. Chairman was questioning Bright Phudi just recently now, I don't know if Mr. Chairman heard, but Bright then did state that his legal representative wrote the letter. If that's the case, then Bright was not being honest with us here when I asked the direct question, did you write this letter? Because I had the same concerns with the wording that was used. So he was not being honest with us when he said he wrote it himself. He later on let it slip that his legal representative let it slip. I then have to question his honesty, because here we've got two different sides of the story. If there's two different versions, what Mr. Chairman needs to look at is whether there's one witness who gives one version and various witnesses that give another version that's the same. That would make the numerous witnesses version the more likely. Another aspect is to try and understand which is the most probable, which is the most believable. And my point here just is that if Mr. Phudi was not honest with us about him writing this letter, was he honest with us when we asked questions like, did he contact Mr. Dick to tell him that Prince Khumalo had died and that the funeral was happening in Ladysmith? Because the evidence showed that Mr. Phudi was the one person that the family phoned about Prince's death. Nobody has been able to state how Mr. Dick found out about the Prince's death and the funeral and that he was there. So one can only assume in the any other evidence that it's a possibility, and I say the word possibility, that Mr. Phudi contacted Mr. Dick to tell him of Prince's death and the funeral, and that would be breaching certain of the clauses in the disciplinary notice, which would be to liaise with the senior employee of Transman Pty Limited, were instructed not to communicate directly with such a person, and arrange for Mr. Graham Dick to speak on behalf of the company at Prince Khumalo's funeral without the necessary authorization, because the family was here and they did not state that they had the phone number of Mr. Graham Dick and that they phoned Mr. Graham Dick. The only person we know that they phoned was Bright Phudi, and all the information that Transman had with regard to the death of Prince Khumalo came from Bright Phudi eventually. So in the absence of any other version from Mr. Phudi, I put it to you that it is probable that Mr. Phudi could have been in contact with Mr. Graham Dick to tell him of this, and the problem there is that Mr. Phudi confirmed himself he's aware that he's not allowed to liaise with Mr. Dick in the present circumstances, because that's the instructions given to Transman employees. With regard to with regard to the funeral as well, Mr. Phudi confirmed that he was aware when it was conveyed to him that Prince Khumalo had died, that he had the responsibility to let Transman know. The evidence was that Thandeka contacted Bright Phudi because she knew him, and it makes more sense that she would phone him about the funeral than just phoning somebody at reception trying to tell them that Prince has died. The person at reception's got no idea who Prince is, for example. She wanted to tell somebody who knew, and then understood from that Transman would make the appropriate arrangements with regard to getting Transman people to the funeral. Kanye gave evidence that the Transman people all went together, they went in uniform, they knew they were representing Transman. By the same respect, I put it to you that Bright Phudi was representing Transman when he took that call from Prince's family. And I put it to you as well that he had a responsibility and a duty towards Prince's family and towards the company to make sure that this funeral was correctly arranged, and that the company's reputation was at stake there. You have to, in terms of your employment contract and in terms of your ethics, you have to uphold the good name of the company. And we asked Thandeka, how did you feel when Bright was not there? And she said, oh, very disappointed. In other words, they were disappointed in Transman. And it's our duty to uphold the name of Transman. The clauses that are referred to in the disciplinary inquiry notice reflect that. I'm not going to deal with each one separately, but essentially it's uphold the good name of the company. Do your utmost best to uphold the company. So it's my submission that he must be found guilty on that charge. It's my submission that Bright has in fact pleaded guilty to the charge of abusing the privilege of being given company accommodation at 28 Seymour Road, Parktown, charge number 7. He stated, and I'll quote his words again, yes, I wasn't really allowed to stay here, But eventually it happened because relationship was fine between me and Mrs. Dick and everyone in the company. He admitted he was staying at number 23 Jan Smuts Avenue without permission. And my submission there is that if that was the case, and his room was free at night, why not allow another worthy Transman employee to stay at that property? There might be other people who need accommodation, but he's actually not allowing somebody that opportunity because he's having the best of both worlds. He's got that privilege, but he's abusing it. He's staying elsewhere. If you're given that privilege, be thankful for that privilege. Take advantage of that privilege. Don't abuse it, because privileges can be taken away. So it's my submission that he should be found guilty on that charge. With regard to the charge of victimization and harassment of the Chief Executive Officer, my submission is that the letter written purportedly by Bright Phudi, dated the 2nd of February 2006, stands for itself. He says he's extremely concerned that his life was threatened during the meeting. That's a very serious allegation to level against your employer. My submission is that it must be very difficult for the employer and the employee to continue to have a relationship after such a letter has been written. And it's gross insubordination that an employee can jump to such a conclusion when it was explained to him by both the HR manager, David Moahi, and by Janssen, his direct supervisor, tone of Mrs. Dick's statement was. And as fellow employees here at Transman, we're all aware of what she says, what she will do to protect her company. It's like a mother looking after her children. If a mother will kill to look after her children, that's it. We're not meaning literal killing here. And Mrs. Dick never intended to ever kill Bright. It was never crossed her mind. It's a figurative meaning of speech. And that explained to Bright, because if he did not understand it first, he should have then, in that meeting with Mrs. Dick, asked her, what do you mean? He never asked Mrs. Dick, what do you mean? But he asked David Moahi and he asked Janssen, and they both said exactly the same to him. And both David and Janssen testified that Mrs. Dick was relaxed. She was not angry during the meeting. There was nothing to make Bright believe that or perceive that his life was being threatened in any way. Mrs. Dick saw that there was a situation regarding sleeping arrangements with him and Jane. She didn't have a problem with the relationship. She just wanted to tell both of them what her rules are under her own house, which is totally acceptable. There's no evidence whatsoever that she acted inappropriately. What seems to be an inappropriate reaction is this letter dated the 2nd of February 2006. It doesn't seem to be based on fact, and an employee cannot be allowed to write such a letter and to get away with it without any consequences. And that's why I asked Bright Phudi, what do you believe the consequences are of writing such a letter? One cannot expect to write a letter to your boss stating that you believe that she's threatening your life and thereafter carry on as if nothing has happened. Unfortunately, it's like you've just gone too far, and it's very difficult to go back when such hurtful things have been